Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I am Emily Johnson. I'm a career counselor with Metro. And today I am so excited to have an amazing panel of professionals from Comcast. Before we get started today, I wanted to just go over our land acknowledgements and take a moment to reflect on our land and where we are today. So we acknowledge the land and the tribal nations upon this land whose work is being accomplished. We acknowledge that we are on Dakota land. We recognize Native nations of this region who have called this place home over thousands of years, including the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Lakota, Dakota, Ho-Chunk, and Cheyenne. We acknowledge the ongoing colonialism and legacies of violence, displacement, migrations, and settlement that the foreground and formation of Minnesota state colleges and universities. So hopefully you all have seen that message before, but we always like to acknowledge that we get to do the work that we get to do because of the land we've taken from our Native partners and families. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Judy Park, who is the Diversity Recruitment Specialist at Comcast, and it's going to facilitate our time together.
Hello, good afternoon or good evening to everyone. So glad you could join me and my wonderful colleagues today. You see on the camera. Comcasters, if you just want to say a wave just so they know who you are. There we go. I'm going to begin sharing my screen. And before we start, Emily and Bill, thank you so much for having us and giving us this time and platform to do this. Really excited for me because I get to learn more about my colleagues and be inspired by them. And I also get to hear back from the students. So thank you so much for being here. I am going to share my screen. Somebody give me a quick holler or a woot woot if you see it pop up. I just want to make sure.
Woot woot.
Oh, love it. Follow directions. I love it. Some people go holla and I'm like, I didn't ask for that one, but thank you. So Emily is going to be managing our chat today. And as you know, today is work, school, life balance. This is a topic that we feel it's always good to talk about and just have some transparent, vulnerable, honest conversations about how we are doing in this new world. And today our panelists are really not only full-time Comcasters, but they're also pursuing their education. And so this is really awesome to hear from them. Before we start, before we introduce them, I just want to give a quick background. If you don't know who Comcast is, we're really close nearby St. Paul, our regional offices, but I'm going to give you a quick background on who we are as a company and then some of the benefits. And you will probably hear some of our panelists share how they feel supported, why they love working at Comcast during this conversation. So let's go right into it. Here is who we are. Many people usually think Comcast is just a cable company. Probably you're more familiar with Xfinity as the known brand, but here's a very snippet majority of our portfolio. So Xfinity, we are determined to provide the best in internet, TV, voice, mobile, and home management, all working together to give customers instant access to what really matters anywhere and anytime. And then in 2011, if you did or didn't know, we had acquired Nbc Universal, which is a leader in global media and entertainment. You talk about marketing of production, entertainment, news, and information going around the globe. Nbc Universal, you will probably recognize a lot of these logos from TV, as well as from the theme parks around the world. Now, Comcast Spectacor is another part of our business, and we really strive to create events out of excitement, passion, and give that positive event experience. We have 3 business partners. Anybody a hockey fan? I know we have Minnesota Wild. I know it's kind of cheating, but hey, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know if they're great, but I hope they are. Philadelphia Flyers. We also partner and have the Wells Fargo Center. And then Spectra is a leader when it comes to food, hospitality services, venue management, and corporate partnerships. So through those 3 right there, we work to give a great experience to customers when it comes to the sports. And then 2018, we went overseas. We took it out of US, we went abroad to Europe. We have now acquired Sky, which is one of the leaders in Europe for media, entertainment, broadband. So when we acquired Sky, we got 24 million customers in 7 countries. And this is how we are growing. And we've been growing ever since. Even during this difficult time, we're still growing. So this is where I get super happy and super prideful about where we work. I've done a little bit of 2021 recognition. These are fresh off within the past 5 months. And you'll see this is what we've been acknowledged. And many of them are repeats. 6th year in the row, 3rd year in the row. This is how consistent we are as a company. I'll throw in there 2020. We were acknowledged by Great Place to Work for best workplaces for parents. And a lot of that comes from the culture as well as our benefits. For those who have served or are part of the military community, 2021, we are still going strong. We broke the record in 2020, we became the #1 best for vets employer. #1, we went from #3 to #1, and now 2021, we're continuing and going forward and supporting our military community and military spouses. So this is who we are as a snapshot when it comes to recognition. And we're just going to talk about some of the benefits. If you do or don't know, then I want to share with you. Here is what makes us a great company. And there's 2 slides, so it's not just these 4. But here are some of the great ones. We have day 1 benefits, medical, dental, vision. It starts the moment you become a Comcaster. We have really great healthcare access. We use technology to access you and your family to the care that you need. And then we have a very generous 401k match dollar for 6%. And then life milestones benefits. So maternity, paternity leave. It's 12 weeks. We have lots of coverage for life insurance, disability, even pet insurance, which I think is so cool because our fur children have been so supportive for us in the families during this pandemic and working from home, and as well as adoption assistance. So for those of you who are students and studying at Metro, here's where I want to just pause on these 4. Tuition reimbursement, right? Many of our colleagues are using this. We go through Ed Assistant program. Full-time employees receive financial support for coursework, academic, as well as certificates, single class courses. It works that way as well. And there's even financial advising at no additional cost. Discounted tuition and fees for 200 schools that are listed out there. So this is what many of our colleagues are using right now to continue and support their education. The newest one, 2021, that just came up is family backup care. So we currently released a partnership with Bright Horizons if you have children, but we have a new backup care program that supports work, home, family, life. And that also includes for adults, for elder care, and it's amazing, right? Can you imagine you can just pay a copay and you can schedule some time when you need additional care to care for somebody, oversee a child, whatever it is, it's amazing. And a lot of people, a lot of families have really chimed in and said, thank you, Comcast, for providing this. This has been a lifesaver for many, many moments where they felt like they could not stretch any further. The last 2 I'm just going to talk about. This one makes who we are really unique from all the other employers. So if you are looking for a deeply discounted Xfinity bill, or if you're like, hey, I wanna get my bill for free, right? Pretty much it is. When you talk about what we provide for our full-time employees, you are pretty much paying for the rental, maybe the box fee, that's it, right? It's pretty much it. Deeply discounted Xfinity internet. Sorry, I just went blank there. Internet, cable, as well as additional to home security, you get discounts there. If you just get the bare minimum, it's about $3,000 of yearly annual savings. And if you start, depending on how big your house is or how many modems or whatever you need, services you need for your home, it can go more. And so this is really what made me the winner in the family. My husband was like, thank you for joining Comcast. This has been a lifesaver. If you have Xfinity services and you want to learn more about our benefits, this is one of the top most favorite ones. And then on top of that, we have an app with 800 plus products and services that you can get discounts through our partnerships, being who we are as Comcast. So that is who we are all together. And now let's get into the real reason why we all joined together. Here are our panelists. Craig, Royana, or you can call her Roy, Rachel and Tony are here today on the screen. This is a snapshot of their career, of what they're doing. And you can see you have some who are part of Metro State. Congrats. You got 2 right here who are going to be part of it, as well as those who are also still pursuing education through other schools and still doing full-time. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can have our panelists' faces show. Let me see if I can do this. Stop share. All right. So I'm going to get started here, and I'm going to ask panelists, go ahead and unmute yourself. And in your own words, let's start with Rachel and then Tony and Roy and Craig. In your own words, what do you do at Comcast, and what school and what major or degree are you pursuing?
Yeah, so I lead a community account management team. So my team builds relationships with all of our multiple dwelling units throughout the Twin Cities. So any apartment buildings, property staff, we're the ones who are going in there and having conversations with them about making sure that they're presenting our products to any new residents that are potentially moving in. I oversee a lot of the north side, so 94 north, all the way through our footprint. And then I also have our greater Kansas City market. We have some small pockets in Missouri and in Kansas that 2 of my team members cover as well. So I lead a team of 11 cars, and then 1 specialist who does a lot of our analytics and helps get the data to drive our strategies. I will be coming into Metro State in the fall. I'm just finishing at Century College for my associates, and I am pursuing business management.
Thank you, Rachel. Tony.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. So what do I do at Comcast? I'm a senior market development representative. What I do is we have a team of 4 people that supports our sales organization, business sales organization. We look for commercial buildings that do not have Comcast services, and we work on bringing our services in, whether it's fiber or just regular cable, into the building, so our sales reps get a chance to sell to the customers that are, or the tenants that are in the building. We service basically all the Twin Cities and a little portion of the greater Kansas City area, like Rachel said, just a small pocket in Missouri that we have. Yeah, that's about it. And the school and major, I'm currently enrolled in Capella. I'm going for a business administration degree, and I'm graduating in spring of 2022.
Oh, right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
That went
Yeah,
fast, Tony.
that went fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy.
Hi, yes, I'm Roy, and what I do at Comcast, I'm fairly new. I work in HR on the employee engagement team. I service the employees in the Twin region that I cover Minnesota, the few people we have in Wisconsin and greater Kansas City area as well. Working more with just different projects that have to do with employee engagement and also employee relations issues as well. So that is what I do, is try to find that happy balance, and I enjoy doing it. And I think we have around 900 employees that I cover in our area. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot going on.
That is a lot. And Roy, did you cover the school and major and degree?
Oh, yes. I am actually enrolled at Metropolitan State University here in St. Paul. Whoop, whoop. I will be graduating in spring of 2022 as well, Tony. So hello, Clay. We're going to be graduates soon. Yeah, so time goes by fast, but yes, I am a Metro State student as well.
Thank you. And last but not least.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Craig Hoywick here. My title is a technical operations manager. it's not as boring as it sounds. People go partially to sleep when I just say the title, but we're what we called on the fulfillment side of the organization. So we've got our wonderful, partners behind the scenes and in front of the folks selling our products, identifying new customers, and we get to go out and make magic happen. One of the guys I work with, he says we get to bring cartoons to kids, and it's not far from reality to be able to entertain people. And in this the world we're living in now, connectivity is something that we take very seriously, being able to bring our products to life for individuals, to keep them connected to their loved ones, their families, their educations, their employers. I support a team of 68 individuals. Sue, who does everything to keep us on the rails. And then there's 6 supervisors and approximately 60 technicians. And we cover the Northwest metro area. Our office is in Brooklyn Park. And right now I'm going back to school relatively recently. I finished my associates a while back and I just put it off, to be honest. And I'm really excited to be going back. It's been such a great experience because I didn't realize how relevant learning was until I went back to school, working full time. It's been really awesome experience. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. So let's get started. And Craig, you just ended the intro. I'm going to come back to you and lob the question here, but you touched on it a little bit. What made you decide to go back to school at this stage of life? You said you just put it off, but could you just share a little bit more with the audience?
I'm just going to be real, transparent. So I did it selfishly because it was a promotion thing. Like it basically at a point in my career, well, in order to move forward in the organization, I got a lot of feedback from people that I need to pursue personal development, education, and without that, I might kind of stall out in my career. And so that was the selfish reason. But what I've learned going back to school and the learning has brought such an awesome experience, because the things that I learned, they always seem like they're lining up with things that I'm experiencing at work. Learning how to communicate messages, learning how to talk to people and share new ideas and learn together. It's been super exciting. So I won't say I did it for the right reason, but I love that I did because it's worked out really well. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Rachel, any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, what Craig said, and I went to college right out of high school. And long story short, I'm the oldest of 9 siblings, and my sister got terminally ill. So Rachel got to stop going to school to help support the family a little bit. And then I had my son at 22, and then life kind of happened, and you get into the groove of work and raising kids and dogs and getting married and all of the things that happen. And my son is now 13. So he's like getting into high school, wondering, what's going to happen. And the last thing that I wanted him to say is, well, you didn't go to college, so why should I? So I was like, well, gotta go back. And it's the one thing that people can't take away from you. Once I have it, and it's mine. So I look forward to completing it.
I love that confidence, Rachel. And I love that you're setting an example for your son, which is sometimes it's easy to say, nope, this is too hard. I can't balance everything. But I love that. I love that example, leading example. Roy, I'm going to ask you a new question here. So what has been your biggest challenge? 2020 was a blur. I keep saying it was a blur, right? And I think you had some background at Metro before, and I think you shared you might have taken a break, so you can feel free to elaborate on that. But what is your biggest challenge currently when it comes to work, school, life balancing? And then what is that challenge? And then how do you manage it?
Yes. 2020 was a blur. I would have to honestly say I am a mother of 3 as well. My oldest is 12. My youngest is almost 2. And so my biggest challenge now, because I did take a mental break from school last year, and is balancing all of that and, finding my happy place. But also really the biggest challenge was getting my support system all on the same page, and that includes myself, my family members, my close friends, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I really want to finish this because it's been a long, long journey. but I'm going to need your support. So I think for me, it was finding that confidence to say, hey, this is the support I need. Can you help me in fulfilling my goals? And a lot of my family, my circle really stood strong with me, and that kept me going as well. So they know I can't go to all the barbecues during the summer and, when the weather's out. Like, I dedicate days for studying. I kind of have a calendar schedule that I do, because my kids are also in sports and they have games and things like that as well. So I just came up with a good kind of planning everything. This day I'm studying this many hours for this class, and that's how I've been getting through it. And that's been really great for that work life and school balance, because I feel like I'm equally attending to everything and not feeling like something's being left out. So
great practices. And I totally support that, because I can't do it without my calendar. I don't know if people like to do pen to paper. I need my Outlook. I need to carve out time and label it and not let anything else come into it. So thank you so much, Roy, for sharing. And we haven't heard from Tony yet. So I'm going to ask the same question to you, Tony. What is your biggest challenge? And I think you said you recently started your Capella program and you're getting done really next spring, right? 2022. What has been the biggest challenge when you're trying to balance work, school, and life? And then how do you manage it?
The biggest challenge for me is doing my work at 110%, right? Giving it all, because you're working from home. That's hard, and you want to make sure that you do your work first. But then after work, doing the assignments is my biggest challenge. I used to say, oh, let me do work. I'll work till 6, 7 o'clock, and then I'll get to the assignments, and I didn't get to it. So on the weekends I would cram and not really put out good work that I wanted to. So now, after I finish working, on my job functions, I touch an assignment every day of school. Every day. So that gives me a little time on the weekends to, mow the lawn or just take a break so that I don't feel so much pressure. And that's worked out. And I found my groove to, keep basically going, and the calendar helps too. So, as Roy said, you miss out on barbecues, you miss out on things, but I think the end result is going to be worth it. So that's my balance. I mean, I have an 18-year-old, so it's not really, I don't have to deal with children too much, so that's not a factor.
Thanks for sharing, Tony. And I'm going to throw out a new question here. What has, to our panelists here, and I'm hearing your stories about this has been the challenge, this is how I managed it. What was the defining moment or an example of that you felt like I'm losing out on this? My bank of X is going down low because I cannot manage. This is too much to juggle. And then when did you decide to make that, like, what was that factor that made you decide I have to change the way I'm doing this and figure some things out? So I'll open it up kind of to the panel. I don't know if Roy and Tony want to add anything else, but Rachel and Craig, feel free to share your thoughts.
Yeah, similar to Roy for me. I have 2 children, 13 and 4, so different stages of life for both of them. And I would tell you that, and Judy, you know this, but I'm very A-type personality. So I haven't hit a place where I was like, gosh, I'm missing out on stuff, because I knew I was going to. I went into it knowing that I was going to. I am also lucky enough to have a wonderful husband who stays home and takes care of all of the home stuff. So I don't have to worry about the grocery shopping and the dishes and the cooking and the practice. He takes care of all of that. So having that support system, to Roya's point, was absolutely key for me, because without him being the stay-at-home parent that he is to both kids, I wouldn't have been able to balance it. So I haven't gotten to a place where I was like, gosh, how am I going to get this? There's been times where I'm like, oh, I'd rather be at that barbecue. I'd rather be at that football game. But short-term loss for an incredibly long-term gain. So.
Wow, love that. Craig, any thoughts you want to
I love what they both said, but Roy, one thing really resonated with me when you said you needed to line up your support system. I thought that was just so well said, and it's, takes a village. So I think just having that support system, said it so well. I don't think I can improve on Roy's answer. I think she nailed it for me, at least, that I think, having I had to carve some things out of my life and just make education and work and my family the priority. I have 4 kids, 2 teenage boys and 2 younger girls and 2 dogs. So trying to stay active in like a nonprofit space with the job and education, it's just really about just trying to really focus on what's important. And it really came back to family relationships and career. So.
Wow. Wow. I love how we keep bringing up our pets and they are a responsibility, but they are part of the family. So I love it. So, Roy and Tony, you both kind of touched upon calendaring, right? And I just want to say, maybe there is a secret sauce, a secret app, a secret tool that our panelists have. What is that favorite method of self-care? You can go towards a self-care route that you would want to make a recommendation to our audience. Like, this has saved my mental health. This has saved my time management. Or if there's another tool or resource that kind of helps you keep organized, or something else that kind of keeps you balanced. So I'm going to start with maybe Roy, if you don't mind just kind of sharing if there's anything else outside of the calendaring that you use to stay organized and on top of everything.
Yes, definitely. This kind of ties in with the calendaring, but I also schedule my self-care with my, so I when I, want to go to the gym, I schedule that in. I don't go to the gym every day, but when I do, I schedule things like that take care of me. My doctor's appointments, anything to take care of me so that I'm at 100%. I schedule that in time. And I let my support system know, like, I have a scheduled me day this Saturday, and this is what I'm doing because I need to do this for me so that I can be 100%, for the upcoming weeks. And I like to use the calendar to help out. Also, I also use kind of a fitness app that kind of helps me make sure I'm fueling myself with the right food, especially when you're those days towards the end of the semester and you're studying for those big, finals and things like that. I want to make sure that I'm fueling my body with the right food so that I can, study to 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's just what the reality of it is, especially when you don't get home till 7 after all the practices with your kids. So I try to think of things like that, like, hey, I know this week is going to be heavy. I need to have some good food, give me good energy. And if I am only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, what's going to help me get really good sleep so that I feel energized in the morning? So that's how I really utilize that. So definitely the food apps that help, they break down, you enter in what you're eating and it tells you this is good, why, and this is bad, why. Educating myself at the same time, but that's what I really use to help me stay on track, for sure.
Love it. Love it. What about any, maybe Tony, Rachel, or Craig, any thoughts you want to add from your end?
Yeah, I use the Calm app. I saw that. I saw the LeBron James commercial while watching the free TV that I received from Comcast, but I got to pay for the box, right, Judy? So I checked it out, and it was LeBron. So the Calm app is a meditation. So I started doing this about 5 months ago. It really works. It takes some discipline to get started, but if you end with it and start with it, oh, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay. If you end with it and start with it, it just makes your day just so much clearer to move on, throughout the whole day without any, stress, I believe. So yeah, definitely meditation works. And I know there's a lot of talk about it because of the pandemic and working from home. So it really, really does work. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Tony. I just took note, the Calm app, because there's so many apps out there, you don't know which one to go. I'm going to put down here, Tony approved, stamp of approval, the Calm app, everybody. So thanks for sharing that. Rachel and Craig, any thoughts before I move on to the next question?
Yeah, I don't use any apps outside of the calendar. I'm pretty tried and true to that. I think the only other thing that I would say similar vein to Raya, is knowing yourself well enough to know when something's got to give. And what I mean by that is I'm 6 months into a new role. Everybody's working from home and schooling from home, and I'm doing school and sports and this. And I finally got to a point a few weeks ago where I was like, all right, I'm taking some vacation days from work so I can focus on just school, and I'm leaving the house so that I can be by myself. And it's just knowing before you get to a tipping point when something's got to give. You need something outside of what you're doing every day. And it's just really listening to yourself a little bit.
I love how you say I'm getting out of the house, because sometimes staycations don't work anymore. I don't think they should even be a term, right? Staycations do not work anymore. So glad you're doing that, Rachel. Thanks for sharing. Craig, I wanted to give you a chance. If you want to share any thoughts on that.
I can't compare my calendar game to Rachel because we did a side-by-side prior to pandemic. I exposed myself to that sales world and see what it's all about. She has so many, like, it's color coded. I've never seen anything like it. It's
like Tetris.
Pretty impressive. So I've trained my friends and my family. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. And I use my work calendar for everything. And work's very supportive. The organization's always pushing out mental health awareness and taking care of yourself. And there's so many resources, whether it's fitness apps or discounts on things to try to get people and keep people in that space where we can be productive and take care of ourselves and our loved ones and our furry pets.
Yes, I agree. I almost want to pivot, Craig, because you brought up a good point. I didn't put this on the questions here, but I'm curious to hear from the panelists today. I would love to hear, obviously, sometimes many of you might be working and doing the school and doing the family and doing everything else. But I'd love to hear from our employees' voice, just how has Comcast supported you when it comes to balancing all this? And if there's a specific situation that you can share, you feel comfortable sharing, or if it's one of the benefits, or if it's, you know what, Comcast has really supported me, and we talk about flexibility, empathy, really allowing that now that we're in a different environment. So I'll kind of open it up. I'm not going to call out anybody, but I'm just going to open up and go ahead and unmute, and then you can take the floor from there, and we'll go into Q&A shortly after. And I have one more question after that. So.
I can go on that one. I am one of the newest employees here at Comcast, and I have to honestly say, since day one, Comcast has always been about, are you okay? How can we help you be a better you? Whether it's health and wellness, whether it's if you want more training on anything. And I think just consciously, like, knowing that Comcast has my back makes me feel great about going forward with my day. You know, even with things coming up in the community and things, everybody's always reaching out and saying, hey, are you good? Did you need any help? Did you want to talk? Here are some resources. I've been on a few different calls where I'm used to coming from an organization where it was, benefits only talked about benefits. And so everybody's talking about the resources that are available for you, no matter what their position is. And that is fascinating, because that means everybody is aware of what is out there for you. And if someone's having a conversation and they say, oh, I think this person needs to talk to this benefit or, department, they're willing to give that information and say, hey, you have resources. And I think that just makes me feel just so proud to say that I work here, because I know that my employer cares about me as a person first, and so that makes me very, very proud to be a part of the Comcast family.
I'm gonna say mic drop number one right there. Would anyone like to go after that? Rachel?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll piggyback, right? I'm a little bit opposite side of the spectrum. I've been with the company for 14 years. So I've been here since I was 10. And I would say the tuition reimbursement you touched on, Judy, I would tell you, I've already said I'm the only one financially contributing to the house. So if it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't be an adult learner, because let's face it, that money is going to go towards my kids. and the household, not me, right? And then vacation time. Again, it goes back to I have more time than the average person, and I'm fully aware of that because you get extra weeks as you get more tenured, and it's using it. And my boss being supportive of me saying, all right, Steve, I need a day. I need a day where I can just dig into this homework and feel like I'm not playing catch up. And having him tell me, yep, go, I got you every single time I've asked for it. So I would say the relationships, like Roy said, and then some of the perks of having the benefits that this big corporation has, and utilizing them to your fullest advantage.
Love it. Rachel's a truth speaker. If you don't know her and you need to hear some truth, she will always serve it really well and graciously. So thank you, Rachel, for that. Craig or Tony, any thoughts? Just gonna give you both a chance to share.
I was gonna wait for Craig, but I guess I'll go. Resources, like Roy said, there's a lot of resources that Comcast provides. I myself and my family have used the wellness benefits that Comcast offers. It's great that a company, during 2020 and 2021, it's been weird years. And Comcast sends out the email reminding us that hey, this is available for you to use if you need it, I did use it, and it worked out great. And also, proud to work for a company that HR really cares about you. They reach out to you, they ask how you're doing, on top of your individual leadership too. But HR, I don't think HR has ever done that before, any other company. Really they're known to just kind of be hiring, recruiting and letting people go. So it's definitely a different way of doing things in a culture that is built around Comcast. So really grateful for that. And that's a real big benefit of me staying how long I've been with Comcast because of it. So.
And Tony, how long have you been with Comcast?
It's been a while. I think just a couple years. No, it's been like 16 years. So I started when I was 8.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That's what we'll say. Good answer. Craig, I didn't want to cut you off if you did, but yeah, you just went on mute, so go for it.
Yeah, one of the specific benefits that exist at Comcast is called ComPsych, and it's just it's really about just that mental health and making it real. I think that providing a place as an employer to have really deep, heavy, real discussions around diversity, equity, inclusion, the work we're doing in the community to close the digital divide, real investment in our communities to feel good about what we're doing and trying to help other people, not just help the bottom line as an organization. And the last thing I'll say that's not directly related to your question, but a couple of us have kind of said it, and I do career counseling largely inside the organization, but some outside as well. And I always talk to people, you have got to look at your inner circle. Who are you surrounding yourself with is going to make you who you are. My mom always said it when I was younger. I never liked it. And now I'm like, she was so right. Who your friends are, I'll tell you what you're like. And it's like, you just have to be very selective of the people you let into that inner circle. It's such a special place to be, and they better deserve it and support you. So.
Love it. There goes mic drop number 4 right there. Thank you all. We're going to open up for Q&A, and I'm just going to, if some of you are feeling like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, I'm going to just open up and then I'll close out with one last question for the panelists. So Emily, if you're still there, I think you're, yep, I see your page. Yeah.
We have not had any questions added to our chat yet, so please feel free to put them there, or maybe if you're comfortable to go off mic and ask away.
Yes, no one needs to be shy here. These 4 individuals are very friendly. They do not bite at all. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute, or if you don't, you can drop it into chat.
I have a question. If you guys work salary hours, do you have to put in more than 40 hours a week, or are you very strict about sticking to a real strict work day schedule? Or is it just flexible enough that you can make up time on weekends, or how do you manage your work time?
Yeah,
Great
that's a
question.
great
I don't know if
question.
we have the same name, but different spelling, but I think your name is
Yeah.
amazing. So high five right there, 5 points to that.
Yeah.
And
I don't run into too many Judys anymore, so it's good to see.
We're unique, rare bunch. But yeah, if you've unmuted panelists, please feel free to share.
Yeah, that's a great question. And one that even our new employees ask quite often, just from a flexibility standpoint. I would tell you, Judy, that it depends on the week. Sometimes I put in 50, 55 hours because that's what the week needs. And sometimes I would tell you that I put in 35 hours because that's what the week needs. It really depends on my workload. And I try to be cognizant of that workload from a work standpoint and from a school standpoint, so that I'm not trying to have a heavy work week and a heavy school week, because then I'm just burning myself out. But I would tell you that that's another perk of Comcast and being in that salaried level is most of the time it's pretty flexible on when I need to be attached to the computer and when I don't.
Roy, were you going to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on the week. I think it also depends on the area that you work as well. But I would have to say that leadership is very supportive of you knowing what you need to do and making sure you have the time to do so. But they also are very enforcive on that work-life balance, that you should not be working 24 hours a day or 18-hour days at all. So I would have to say that's been what I hear a lot my first couple months in here. So
It's a great question, Judy. And I love that I have to say my own name to myself right now to say great question, Judy. Thank you, panelists. Anyone else would like to share their response to her question? Okay, Jennifer, I think you yeah, go for it.
Raise me hand. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is really great. I actually am an academic advisor at Metro State, and I wanted to hear from you guys about your experience and your journey. So this is really great that we can do this. And I'm wondering, for my purpose, how can the institution that you're attending, whether it's the community college or Metro State, or I forget where Tony Capella, I think it was, Tony was attending. How is your higher ed institution supporting you? Or are there things that students can utilize through their school that have helped you or could help them as they're working full-time, taking care of family, and also attending school?
Love that
honestly, I attend Metro, and I absolutely love the resources that are offered at Metro. I am part of the student parent organization. Also, my advisor. I mean, there were times where I just had to email 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. What is there to help me out? And there's just an abundance of resources out there. And I've been, going to school part-time for the last few years, and I've just built those relationships with those resources, and I just absolutely love them. I always refer the other students to them as well. Utilize your resources. They're there. The advising team, the different groups that are at Metro State have been absolutely wonderful to me, and very resourceful for me for my success. So.
Nobody paid her to say that because she's on a Metro event at all. That is coming straight from the heart. So thank you, Roy. Anyone else would like to respond to Jennifer's question?
I think for me, I do most of my stuff online, and did even before COVID was a thing. And most of those professors that I've come in contact with throughout the classes that I've taken for the past 2.5 years are fully aware that they have some working parents that are in the class, and have always been open to Roy's point, to emails and to messages on the school site. And this last class that I was just in was the first time that I had to maneuver a meeting with a professor during the workday. And she was fully like, yep, then we'll just get you in earlier and I'll talk to you at 7:45 instead of 8. And it's just explaining your situation. I have not run into anything where I was like, gosh, I can't make this work because the school just isn't being flexible. It's been a great experience thus far. So.
Great. All right. So I'm gonna know what Craig and Tony didn't go unmute, so I'm not gonna put them on the spot here. Any other questions for our panelists?
Also,
I'll just.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just want to respond to both questions because I felt like there was like a personal and the academic route. Judy, to your question, you know, what does the workload look like? And I would say to both questions, the work needs to get done, whether it's academic or professional. But I'm supported at work by my boss who says, hey, with everything going on and the heavy lifting that we're doing with some of the really deep work on some of the topics that are not traditional for an enterprise environment. You said schedule time for yourself when you can, middle of the day, whatever, take an hour, go for a walk, go to the gym. Of course, that needs to accommodate. And similar for the online education, I almost feel like the syllabus, I'd like to see because I'm relatively new to the organization that I'm attending. And so I feel like there's a lot more flexibility built in, but again, the work still needs to get done. But I just thought both those questions were interesting because they kind of lined up for me.
Yeah. Judy, do you have another great question for us?
Yeah, well, I'm just curious, is everybody working remotely as well? Is that just kind of standard issue, so to speak, now? Or are you going to be going back to your offices, or what's that kind of looking like? And will that affect your schedule again too?
Great question.
It is a great question.
And I think it depends on the part of the business that you're in. So my team is out every day of the week. We are out visiting apartment buildings and property staff all 5 weekdays. I am in a little bit of a hybrid. I get out, like I was out into the field most of the day today and then back home to finish my day. Rumor has it that when we go back to office, it won't be 5 days a week. It won't ever be back to what it was pre-COVID. I guess we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But my part of the business is different. So my team's out and about already. Therefore, I'm out and about when I can be out and about. Tony and Roya might have different things to say, and Craig's team is out and about every day too. So.
Yeah, I currently work from home, and I, like Rachel said, it might be quite some time before we go back in the office. But I know that back in the office is going to look a lot different than it did before. So we don't know. It hasn't been announced or anything, so we don't know for sure. But it really just depends on your area, what you do, and whether you're out in the field or not.
Yep, I am out and about a few days a week too. So, and so kind of like Rachel, we start out in the field maybe in the morning and finish a day in the afternoon, visiting clients or property managers. But when we do go back, it might not be a full-time week either. So.
All right. Craig, any thoughts that you want to share?
Yeah, it's my team. The team I support is out in the field, and I'm a very social person. I like interacting with the folks that I get to work with. So they've been doing their jobs, going into homes almost through the entire pandemic, because we all need to be able to work from home and do school from home, and so that they've been out in the field the entire time, but with additional safety protocols, of course. But yeah, I try to get in at least a couple times a week, specifically in the morning. It sounds similar with you all, to be able to just spend some time. And I just feel like I'm really there to support them and invest in them. So if I'm not out with them, I feel like I'm not doing a great job supporting them. Great question though. I love that question because you're really connecting to the experience.
Yeah. Definitely. I do want to say real quick here, there is a link to do a survey in the chat. And I'm going to share, well, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen, but I'm going to close out. There's one more question I'd love to share with the panelists and ask. To close out and to give encouragement for the students who are here and the staff that are here, whether you're in school or you're about to graduate, you're close nearby, how is education, how is pursuing this education positively impacted your career in life? And I know some of you touched upon it in the beginning a little bit, but let's talk about the silver lining. What's the positive of doing this? And so while you do that, I'll get the slide up ready, but it's going to be open floor. So whoever can get to the mute button, unmute, we'll go there. Everyone's going, go for it, Roy. I think you went.
Yeah, I would have to say pursuing my degree in human resource management has definitely increased my knowledge in what I'm doing. And also one thing I learned at Metro was that in the midst of classes and discussion about the stuff I'm working in, I'm teaching my classmates information and giving them, you know, feedback, and a lot of them are working in the field as well. So we're all really just like teammates, and, you know, in this HR world, we call it, and it's just very beneficial to get someone else's, you know, point of view and build those relationships. So, you know, 3 years down the road, you're like, hey, I know this person who dealt with this same issue, you know, I'm a network with her or him. And I think the networking part has really been beneficial in my work life and work experiences as well. I feel like personal development and education is always going to be beneficial for anyone to learn more and to develop themselves more, to be more successful and understanding. And it's definitely shown that in my work experiences in the last few years. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roy. Anybody else? And I think we have a question from the audience as well. So anyone else from the panelists who would like to share? Okay. Everyone's okay. I think, is it Harun?
Yeah, it's Harun. Can you hear me well?
Right. People are willing to give you, let's go. They were like, we're going to pause and we're going to let the audience ask. So go free for it.
Firstly, I want to thank Emily for inviting me here at the Career Center. And then I also want to thank you guys for your time today. My question is, so I'm a Metro State alumni, and I graduated during the COVID era. So there was a lack of jobs, lack of internships, lack of entry-level jobs. And till now, I kind of see a trend of entry-level jobs being placed at a higher level than what entry-level actually means. They want people of 5 to 6, 7 years experience. And it's me and other students as well feel like we didn't really get that full graduation experience, graduating, being able to go into the workforce in a time where, you know, jobs are being taken off. And so what would you guys suggest someone who's in my situation to, you know, be encouraged, be motivated, feel like I can bring some experience to a company, and at the same time, you know, not look at all these trends and things going on? Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Harun. Panelists, I'll give you first dibs to this.
Yeah.
So I'd say at Comcast, we're growing certainly in several areas, and especially, I'll just speak for my own work group. We've got a large group of very tenured individuals, and what I'm saying by that is we have a lot of people getting ready to retire. So we need new thoughts, we need new ideas, we need people that want to come in and work. So I can only speak for Comcast and our department and some of the other departments that I know they're hiring. But I would say if we're learning anything, is that what we used to do doesn't always work. So if you've got 5 or 6 years of experience, you've got to prove that you can unlearn and relearn at a higher rate than what probably some of my peers, and I think they would admit this, that they're getting ready to retire and they're like, I'm not there as much. We need to, you know, pass it on to who's up next. So I just encourage you to go out, don't let anyone write your story, and just be bold and start applying for stuff. You can do it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, right? Have the confidence to apply for a role and go through that process. I think, I'm sure Judy would tell you, because she's in that recruiting arm of our business, but just in the department or the organization that I'm in within sales and marketing, I think we have over 20 open spots that we're applying for right now at Comcast. My last hire, my analytics specialist, just graduated from Concordia University in December. This was his first corporate job outside of internships. So I would say have faith in your ability and have that confidence to apply for it anyway and go through the process and make them tell you no.
Great, Rachel, thank you. Roy, did you want to share anything?
Yes, I wanted to just, kind of take it back on Rachel said, it's just to apply for it, but also speak to the skills that you have. When you look at a job description, see where your skills, where you have solid information that matches with what they're looking for. And during your interview process, you speak to that and you sell yourself. Don't, like Craig said, don't let anyone else write your story. You write your own story. So really looking at that helped me when I was looking for, I have experience in a whole different field, but I knew I had skill sets to go into HR. And that's how I did it. I started that way. And then, going back to school for an HR degree. So definitely speak to the skill set for what you're looking for to kind of have the proof in the pudding, and you'll find your right match.
Right. Tony, were you Chase?
I was just gonna tell Arun, just let them know that you're motivated too. Let them know that you're gonna work hard towards it. So just be true to yourself and just let them know, I think. And like everybody said, don't let the 5 to 6 years experience scare them. Still apply, still apply.
Yeah. So I'll say this, Harun, as part of kind of talent acquisition, and I know Emily's putting into the chat there. Thank you, Emily, for being so diligent with that. I'm going to share my screen real quick and talk about this. So who Rachel just mentioned is actually this gentleman right here. Graduated in December 2020, and he had an offer about 2 months prior to his graduation. Now I'm going to share you why this matters, Harun, and I want to encourage you because I'd love to connect with you and maybe see if we can network. But he networked. This individual I met at a career fair in 2018 or so, and we kept in touch. He always responded when I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Or he would reach out, not in any unashamed, reach out and say, "Judy, do you know how to do this? Can you help me with this?" And so maybe you never know who's around you, Harun. Ask questions, ask for help. The answer is always going to be no. So if you know someone in a company, you're like, I want to get into this company, but I only know one person. I don't know if I should ask them because they're a manager or they're in a different department. Ask. The answer is always going to be no. He asked for mentorship. He asked for coaching. He asked for resume coaching. And 2 years, 3 years down the line, now he's with the company. And so reach out, look into your LinkedIn networks, just kind of look and see who's out there and ask for help. There's always opportunity. I think that's the biggest thing is when people feel that they can't ask, you're missing out on a lot of other opportunities. So Harun, Emily, maybe you and I, we can connect. I'd love to connect with Harun as well, just to see what we can do to support him. But to close out, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this event. And Emily, if you want to come on camera and just kind of close out as well. This is our Thursday event coming up. This is for the early career Comcasters. These are individuals who have either interned with Comcast, or John is the one who has never interned, but he's had other internships, and he utilized and leveraged everything, every work experience, every skill, every storytelling opportunity to get himself into this company right after graduating. So that's 12 p.m. this Thursday. It's your lunch break. Bring your lunch. No shame in eating off camera or on camera, but this is going to be a fun panel to hear from as well. So Emily, any closing thoughts before we sign off?
I just want to thank each of you for being a part of the session today. You have work, you have school, you have life, and you took your time to be a part of the session and give your knowledge to our students So thank you, and thank you for our mayor teammate who helped sponsor this event. We are very thankful for that. But thank you all for joining, panelists and students. Your partnership and knowledge exceeded my expectations. This was phenomenal. We did record today's session. Everyone should get this in their inbox tomorrow morning. Share it with your friends so we can keep this knowledge spreading, and connect with these people. These are people who may be your next partner or be a part of your network. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great evening and take care, everyone. We'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. Bye-bye.